Following Pacquiao's latest victory against Keith Thurman last weekend, a lot of fans have been speculating who Manny Pacquiao should fight next. So, obviously, with him being 40 years old, the matchmaking that he does undertake does have to be very specialized. He has to pick an opponent that can give him a high enough paycheck, but also not be too risky where he could potentially lose or get damaged. So, the fighters that you see on the screen are several fighters that I think could potentially be a viable option for Pacquiao to fight in the future. So this could be his next fight, or this could happen in the next three, four fight time. A lot of fans have been speculating whether he should rematch Keith Thurman because the first fight was good, but in my opinion, I don't think that's a fight that's worth taking because obviously we've already seen it and done it. So we've already seen Pacquiao run through him. It was a closely contested match, but I think Pacquiao clearly won. And to be honest, it does look kind of good. It does look kind of bad. It looks great on Pacquiao, but it looks bad on the current crop of welterweight fighters when one of the top welterweights in the world is losing to a 40-year-old fighter who's still legendary but is way past his prime. So we could take Keith Thurman out of the water. Obviously, you've got the next fight between Errol Spence and Sean Porter. If they were to fight, the winner of that could be a viable opponent for Manny Pacquiao. Now, in my opinion, I think if he was to fight Sean Porter next, Sean Porter was to get past Errol Spence, then Sean Porter, from a stylistic level, would be a better opponent for Pacquiao to fight next. I feel like Errol Spence is just too big and strong for him at this moment in time, and he has the certain boxing fundamentals and the speed and the rhythm to probably give Pacquiao problems. But Sean Porter has a very similar style to Pacquiao, and stylistically, he does like to come forward quite a bit. He has shown the ability to walk a little bit and go around the perimeter of the ring. We saw him do it against Danny Garcia, but generally speaking, Sean Porter's a fighter that comes forward and applies relentless pressure. So Sean Porter, from a stylistic perspective, is a very good opponent for Manny Pacquiao to fight next, as he has the style that's specific for Pacquiao, and he's also got a similar height to Pacquiao. Obviously, Errol Spence is a little bit taller, and I think Errol Spence is really a middleweight, masquerading at welterweight. The next fight, I think, a fight against Danny Garcia from a stylistic perspective would be a very good fight. Obviously, Pacquiao doesn't have the legs that he once had when he was younger, but I still feel like he's got enough foot movement to bother Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is one of them fighters who needs to plant his feet to land his trademark left hook and also follow up and plant his feet to actually land the other punches that he's so effective with. He's a fighter that likes to punch in between punches. So when an opponent is throwing punches very quickly, like an Amir Khan, he would like to counter in between their counters. But with Pacquiao, if Pacquiao constantly moves around, it wouldn't give Danny Garcia an opportunity for him to plant his feet. So I think a fight against Danny Garcia would be a very good matchup for Pacquiao from a stylistic perspective, because Danny Garcia just doesn't know how to handle movers. Like, fighters that can move and give him angles would cause him problems. And obviously Pacquiao, with him being southpaw and his relatively good foot movement, I think that will give problems to Danny Garcia. The next option, I think, is the best option, would be a fight against Amir Khan. Amir Khan tweeted out that a fight between him and Pacquiao was signed. Obviously, Pacquiao denied it a couple of days later, but I think a fight like that could be made. Obviously, they're all both with Al Heyman, and a fight with Pacquiao versus Khan in Saudi Arabia would be massive. Obviously, Khan had his last fight against Billy Dib, and he managed to pull 9 million for that one fight. So if the Saudis are obviously trying to get into boxing now, because they've put on 2 events since they first emerged into boxing, with George Groves versus Callum Smith, the finals for the WBSS World Boxing Super Series tournament, and obviously Amir Khan versus Billy Dib. But I think that if they really want to become a home for boxing, if they was to host a fight between Manny Pacquiao and Amir Khan, that would be massive. And they would probably overpay them, because Amir Khan got overpaid for his fight against Billy Dib. He got 9 million for a fight. It was basically a charade. It was a joke fight. The fight was just a joke, and he still got 9 million. So if he was to fight Pacquiao, it would easily make 10, 11 million. And Pacquiao would probably make 15 million or 20 million for that fight. the Saudi Arabians would overpay for that fight, and it would actually put Saudi Arabia on the map. If they could host the super fight between Pacquiao, who's got this massive Filipino fan base, and obviously Amir Khan, who's connected with the Muslim community and Asians in general, that would literally lift boxing on another level if that was to be hosted in Saudi Arabia. So I think that's the best option for Pacquiao. And obviously, from a stylistic perspective, I think Amir Khan is totally shot. So Pacquiao would be like the best opponent. Khan would be the best opponent for Pacquiao. Pacquiao would easily probably knock him out. The way he dropped Keith Thurman in the first round, it would be like that. But Khan wouldn't survive the rest of the fight. He'll just keep getting dropped, and he'll probably get stopped by Pacquiao. The next fight, obviously a lot of people have mentioned it, but I just don't see it happening. Is Mayweather versus Pacquiao too, and obviously I think Pacquiao tweeted about it today. I don't think that fight's going to happen. I just think Mayweather's just content. If he does come back, he'll do like an exhibition fight, but I don't think he's ready for a proper competitive fight. I think Mayweather's just like happily retired, so I don't see that fight happening. So in the next 3-4 fights, I see these fights being made. Obviously, a Pacquiao might fight the winner of Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. A fight between Pacquiao and Khan makes perfect sense if you're looking at it from a business perspective, because it's 100% low risk. Because Amir Khan is probably going to get knocked out. It's low risk for Pacquiao because Pacquiao can easily knock out Khan. And it's high reward because the Saudis are going to pay so much money for it. Out of all of this, the two undesirable fights will probably be a rematch with Keith Thurman because it's pointless. We've already seen it. And a fight with Danny Garcia because although Pacquiao wins, it does nothing for him. Danny Garcia doesn't have any belts or anything. And obviously, a fight with Mayweather Pacquiao. The first fight between Mayweather Pacquiao was 5-6 years overdue. If this fight was to happen 5-6 years later, it would just be a farce. Like, it might make a bit of money, but it just wouldn't be worth watching. So I wouldn't even care too much about it. It would just purely be a money grab. But thankfully, I hope Mayweather doesn't come back for that fight. So one name I forgot to mention, and I didn't put him up on a graphic, is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is obviously a great fighter. He's a top pound-for-pound fighter, but the reason why I don't see that fight ever being made is because obviously Terence Crawford is with Bob Arum. Obviously, Bob Arum and Manny Pacquiao, when they split, they had some beef, and obviously Bob Arum slagged off Pacquiao by saying that he's probably going to get beat by Keith Thurman. I've seen him slag off Pacquiao a few times, and obviously Manny Pacquiao sued Bob Arum, so there's no way he's going to cross the street and get back with Bob Arum to make a fight with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford isn't a big enough name for there to be a cross-promotional fight. Like Mayweather versus Pacquiao, that's a bit different. That's a fight for the ages. But I don't see Terence Crawford going over the street or Manny Pacquiao going over the street to fight each other. Just doesn't make any sense. And obviously they're with separate networks as well. So and also in the past, Manny Pacquiao said he would need 20 million to fight Terence Crawford. So he basically priced himself out of that particular fight. So there's no way that fight was ever going to be made. I just don't see it happening in the foreseeable future. I'm not one to say that Pacquiao ducks fighters, because if you look at his resume, it's total bullshit. But I think he knows in his own mind that there's certain fights from a stylistic perspective will not be good for him. And a Terence Crawford fight, stylistically, for a 40-year-old Pacquiao, we saw the way he was gassing against Keith Thurman in the last 3 rounds. I don't think that would be a good fight for Pacquiao. Terence Crawford is just all wrong for him. So, and obviously it doesn't bring that much of a fan uproar if he does win the fight. It's not high reward because Terence Crawford is quite low profile, even though he's considered by many people number 1 pound for pound. A lot of people just don't put him on the pound for pound. Even though I feel like in boxing there should be 2 lists. There should be the pound for pound list and a marketability list. Like in terms of marketability, Terence Crawford is probably not even top 5. Like, you got fighters like Canelo and Anthony Joshua. Them fighters sell out arenas, but Terence Crawford is nowhere near that level. So they're the fights that I think make the most sense for Pacquiao to make at this moment in time. Obviously, most of these fighters are PBC fighters. All of them are PBC fighters, and it makes sense from a stylistic perspective for him to, if I had to choose one, was probably fight Khan in Saudi Arabia, make an easy 10-20 million from that fight, easily knock out Khan, look stunning doing it. It'll be a great fight to make for Pacquiao if it comes to just making as much money as you can for the lowest risk possible. But anyway, that's my thoughts anyway on who Manny Pacquiao should fight next in terms of in terms of his next career move. Tell me what you think below, and obviously subscribe and like the video. And that's all there is to it. Peace out.